All right. Trying to get situated here. What's up, guys? All right. Well, welcome back to our weekly live event. You're on point. I think we're on point. All right, guys. Well, good to see everybody. Welcome back to our weekly live event. What's up, Andre? Good to see you. For those who don't know, I'm Pascal Corcus. I have a mortgage company, an accounting firm, an insurance agency, a property management company, construction, and we do everything finance and real estate related. So I started investing in real estate, on with my own money at 19 years old. I've been in the game since I was 14. So love to answer any of your questions, help you guys bring it to the next level. We're going to be getting into some topics. We're going to be talking about the different crises going on, oil, wood, all commodities, basically. What's up, Sal? Welcome to our weekly event. Every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I go live and answer you guys' questions. So I really look forward to it. You guys have some great questions, and I love helping. What's up, Lord Malibu? Hey, what's up, Basus? What's up, LL Cool J? All right. So I'm going to give it a minute, let everyone kind of get situated, join the live event, and then I'm going to start with this week's topic with oil, wood, and basically all of our other essentials that are soon to be increasing. What's up, Stevie? All right, guys. So I'm going to dive on in. As you guys know, this week, you've heard about the pipeline getting hacked. And this pipeline actually controls roughly 45% of the oil that's being distributed on the East Coast of the United States. It's affecting basically from, the northern east down to Georgia. In Florida, we're not actually affected by that issue because the pipeline doesn't actually come here. We receive our oil from tankers and they get delivered here on ships. So that's why we normally don't encounter this problem. It's not really an issue for us, except during hurricane season, we do have a problem because ships can't get here. And when ships can't get here, we have a gas problem, right? We don't have any gas. So it's usually not a horrible problem for us in Florida, but it is a big problem now for the country because half of the gas is being cut off. And I predicted at the beginning of this year that we're probably going to have $4.50 gas. It really doesn't have much of an issue with what's going on right now with the tax of the oil pipeline. And a lot of the issues are coming to with the hyperinflation we're seeing in America. We're going to have a big problem with that where our dollar devaluates. And it's going to continue being a problem until the rest of the world starts devaluing their currency. And what normally happens is we do it first, and then the rest of the world starts doing it, and it's a domino effect. In this scenario, as I mentioned last week and before, many countries are actually going to have their currency become worthless and tank, while us in America, we're going to have a problem, but it's not going to be as bad as the rest of the world. Now, the other issue that's going to cause major problems with oil is Palestine. If you guys have not heard, in Palestine and Israel, there's rockets being launched, and from what a lot of people are thinking is there's going to be a war. So, so right now, it's going to be a problem because it's going to affect oil, and it's going to affect trade, it's going to affect many things. And so that's another big reason why we're going to have an issue with oil. Is when Trump was in power, he did have a personality where a lot of people around the world didn't want to mess with him because they were, concerned how he might respond. Where around the world currently, people aren't really too concerned about our current president. They're not kind of concerned what he might do. So basically, that's one of the main reasons why we're going to have continuing increases in oil prices between those two things. The next thing is regarding wood. Wood obviously has major supply chain issues, which is causing the pricing to go up and the very high demand. Wood is 400% what it was previous, let's just say about 12 months ago to 18 months ago. We're going to see the same thing with metal. We're going to see the same thing with like copper, steel, aluminum, wiring for houses, microchips. The used car market right now is so expensive. I don't know if you guys have looked, but if you'll see used cars have not dropped in value. Normally used cars are supposed to go down in value. That's not happened. Used cars are staying very high, and that's because new cars are being produced at very low levels. And one of the main issues obviously is manufacturing, but specifically microchips. Microchips are in everything right now. And because there's a reduction in microchip production, that is affecting the new car production, which is affecting how many new cars are being sold, which is affecting the price of used cars. It's keeping them high. So normally you're going to see a car, so for example, BMWs and Audis, after 3 years, usually have the largest drop in price. They're going to lose roughly 30 to 50% of their sticker price within the first 3 years. So you're going to find a BMW that's $180,000 or an Audi that's $180,000. You're going to be able to find it 3 years later for $90,000. Now, that's awesome, right? Great deal. Most of the reason is because leases. They're the highest leased vehicles. So after 3 years, the lease is up and they get the car back. So there's a lot of cars being sold. Well, those cars are not dropping in price right now because of supply and demand issue. Same thing with real estate. Because of all the supply is held back, it's the demand is being pent up and there's not enough real estate to go around. So that's why, even though there is a foreclosure crisis, there is all these other issues, there is all the problems from the pandemic, and prior to the pandemic, as is mentioned, we have a systemic issue in this country of people not having money. All those issues are still there and they have not been resolved. That's why I'm still concerned. But because of all these supply chain issues, the supply and demand part of things, right? There's a very low supply, very high demand is causing prices to go up. This should stay around for like 3 years. I would say at least 3 years we're going to have this situation. But after 3 years, we're going to be in a scenario where we're going to have issues because the demand is going to drop, the supply is going to increase, and we're not going to have a oversupply compared to demand. So I don't think it's going to be horrible at that time because our supply and demand is so off that I think it's going to go down some, but it's not going to be crazy. So if you can find a great deal now, it's still a good time to buy. And just make sure you buy, you fix your property up, you refinance, so you're in a great low payment and you'll be fine. You should be able to ride the waves of any economic downturn. So Invest has a question. It says, buy a single family home, owner occupied now or wait? I would say if you can find a good deal, buy it now. I would say buy it now. You got a question on YouTube? I honestly cannot see any questions on YouTube. My chat is blank.
Yeah, can we read it to you?
Yeah, sure, read it to me.
Okay. When refinancing your home, if it appraises at a higher value, does your taxes adjust to the new value of your home?
Great question. So in Florida, I know the laws very well here. If you bought a home from someone that's owned the home for 20 years, be careful, because what happens is they owned the home for 20 years and they bought the house for, let's just say, $100,000. And now 20 years later, that house is worth 400 grand. And that's a very common example because prices have gone up dramatically over 20 years in Florida. So they're only paying property taxes on a $100,000 property. Now, When you buy it, you're going to be paying property taxes on a $400,000 property. So normally year one, most people do not know that their property taxes are going to jump dramatically. So be prepared for that. Two, there's a thing in Florida called homestead. Homestead is a cap on your property tax increase. So if you homestead your property, means you're an owner occupant. One, it's harder to take away from you in a lawsuit. That's why multimillionaires will own properties in Florida, very large ones, and they'll homestead them. Not just because they want a crazy big house to live in, but because if they get sued, they'll have a $50 million home that no one can take. And that's what O.J. Simpson did. Now, there's a lot of other little tricks in the financial game where you can set money up so no one can take it as well. Now, but back to real estate and property taxes. So what you need to do is homestead it so you can cap how much your property taxes go up. And then every year after that, your property taxes will not be able to go up more than 3% if you homestead. If you don't, it's going to go up according to the market. It's going to think that your property is an investment property, not a home. They're not going to know that you're an owner-occupied property, primary residence, which can be homestead. Otherwise, they're going to think you're an investment property, and the property taxes will keep going up. So that's why you'll also see a lot of people in Florida not sell for a very long time. There's a house, there's a triplex next door to the fourplex that I have under contract. We basically went to the person, I'm interested in the property, has a pool. I'd probably pay her about $700,000 for this property just because it's exactly what I need. She's an older lady in a wheelchair. She said, I'm going to live here till basically I pass away. Two reasons why. One, her property taxes are locked in. So if she moves somewhere else and buys another property, she's going to pay a higher property tax level. Two, her payments are low or nothing right now. If she sells and then buys another one, it's not going to make much of a difference for her because her cost of living doesn't really go down. Now, you would think it does go down when you downsize, but unless you're going from like a 5,000 square foot house to like a 1,000 square foot house, there's not much savings when you go from a 2,000 square foot house to a 1,000 square foot condo or townhouse. That all these other fees that come into play don't really save you much money. There is some ways you can play the game to save money, but normally it's not so significant for someone to make the move that isn't financially struggling. So, yeah. All right, guys. Let's get back to the topic of what's going to happen with all commodities. Everything is going up. The price of everything is going to go up. So if you're wondering, how should I invest? One of the ways I think is when I buy stuff, I buy it in bulk. Now you would think, one, you're saving money because you buy it in bulk. That is correct. But I buy in bulk also because I know all products go up in price every year because of inflation. So funny story, when the toilet craze happened, the toilet paper craze happened, I didn't need to buy toilet paper until after the craze was basically over. I had 2 jumbo packages of toilet paper in my house and had 2 jumbo packages of toilet paper in my office. The reason being is whenever I go to the store and I go to, say, Sam's Club, I pack my truck up and I want to fill the truck with as much stuff as possible because if I'm already there, I want to buy everything I have to. And anytime I think, all right, I got extra space in the truck, what can I get? I buy paper towels and I buy toilet paper. One, the price of that stuff always goes up because it's a wood-based product. It's a paper. So wood always goes up in price. So I just kept buying more. And I was like, whatever, might as well. I'm going to use it eventually, and did not need to buy any toilet paper. So that was my logic is basically I buy as much stuff that I need to be out 6 months, maybe 1 year of certain items. And that's also good for Florida for hurricanes, right? And then you always have the stuff around. So the point is, if you're trying to say, I don't have much money to invest, what's the first thing I should do? Buy volume with your money. Another thing that I want to come to is, if you're going to be smart with your money, is whenever you're paying for something, pay for it in full. So don't make monthly payments for your car insurance. Pay for it 6 months in full. One, you're going to get at least a 10% discount. So the question is, where are you going to get a 10% return on your money? Right? Guaranteed with no risk right there. And you're not going to pay the monthly fees for paying, like, say, an extra $3 fee for paying a monthly for your credit card. So those are two things that really help for making money on a small level. So thanks for all the love, guys. Thanks for all the thumbs up. I appreciate it. So let's go into answering some questions. Same thing with IG. If you're asking me any questions on IG, guys, in the question section, I don't see anything. In YouTube, I don't see anything. I know Hannah's telling me that she sees stuff, but I don't. On my screen, it's all blank. So, Hannah, what do you see over there?
Would you like me to go forward with YouTube? Is there another question on YouTube, and then jump on Instagram and see who else has a question on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go to YouTube and see what questions.
All right. Follow-up question from Ronald. He was the one who asked previously on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Is it advisable to open up a line of credit to create value add, then refinance to pay back the line of credit and invest the remaining equity?
So Ronald, that was a great question. What Ronald said is, if I currently have a first mortgage and I don't have enough money to pay for the remodel out of pocket, should I get a home equity line of credit, use that money to remodel the property? After remodeling the property, do a refinance, a cash out refi, pay off the first loan and the second loan, have one larger loan, maybe even get some extra cash out, and do it that way, or burr that way, your house hack that way? And the answer is yes. I bought this house here for let's just say $470, and I put down 20%. I did some upgrades to the house. I used cash. I didn't need a line of credit. Did some upgrades to the house, new roof, upgrades to the water softening system, to drinking water, AC system, to the pool. I made a saltwater pool. I did all these green upgrades to make better living, and I did a refi. When I did my refi, the home came back for significantly more money, and I basically am now, after everything that I did, I have no money in this home, and I'm living in it for less than what it would cost for someone to rent this house after all my expenses. So yes, that is a good idea, and you can go about it that way. Just a piece of information. Most home equity line of credits, if you look hard, will not charge you any closing costs. You can just get a home equity line of credit with no closing costs. But if you pay it off within 2 years, they might charge you like a $400 or $500 fee for paying it off within 2 years. So just be aware of that. Not a big deal, but just, it happens.
We have a question here from Nathaniel Gomez.
Okay.
What do you think about Tesla discontinuing Bitcoin as payment for Tesla temporary?
So we have to understand that this is new times, and that Bitcoin as a payment method and as an investment, despite what people are saying, is still frowned upon by our government. And there's people in the government high up there saying they're going to go after Bitcoin and Bitcoin users. The conversation me and Hannah had last week, we got to put this video up, was about how gold was confiscated in the 1930s. And then the government came out after confiscating it from the people, said, hey, we're going to have a gold standard. We're going to be backing our money with gold. And so it was taken from the people. Then the government used it to back their own currency, and then the price of gold went up. China confiscated Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining machines, like 7,000 machines. Said, we don't like it. and then came back and said, you know what, we're okay with it. So that leads me to believe that crypto does that. Honestly, was one of the biggest things that made me think, okay, if the government's taking it away, that means they want it. They want part of this. So they're going to eventually make it acceptable down the line, and it's going to be worth something. That's my personal opinion. You guys can do what you want, right? This is just how I see things. You can do things your own way and, check with your own advisors to see how it works for your financial situation. But I do believe there's a future here. And along to this future, there's going to be waves. So they, as a corporation, has to play within the rules. And I'm pretty sure that there had to be some type of government intervention that caused them to say, we're going to pause this for now.
Arlen82 says, can you give some negotiation advice when putting an offer?
Some negotiating advice. Okay, can you repeat the question?
Can you give some negotiation advice when putting an offer?
So right now in this market, right, if you checked back 2 years ago, the advice they gave you was based off of the market conditions. So today's advice is for today. Today, if you want a property, you better give them asking or above asking in a good market. Let's be real. I love getting a deal. But today, a deal is basically market price and sometimes a little bit above market price. So this fourplex for 900 grand, people are like, okay, you didn't get a discount on it. I said, the deal was me getting the property. Like, you're not finding fourplexes in this neighborhood. And me getting it was a deal alone. So what I do is after the inspections, I then ask for credits. So that's the play right now. After inspections and after appraisals, you can then ask for credits. But be aware that sometimes appraisals are coming in less than what you're buying it for. So you might have to come up with more money out of pocket. So if you're planning to beat the bare minimum, you might not be able to make it. You're gonna have to put more money down.
Next question. What would it take for myself to buy property and move to Florida from Ontario?
Ontario. Well, one, good luck getting out of Canada, because I hear there's a problem getting out of Canada easily. But the process really is not that hard. You can come down here and you can buy property. If you're not a U.S. citizen, if you're a foreign national, you can still buy property here. It's going to require more money down, and you're not going to get the subsidized loans that American citizens get, right? When you're getting a Fannie, Freddie, or conventional loan, it's being subsidized by the government, so you're getting a lower rate. So as a foreign national coming here, or an investor coming and buying property as not an owner-occupied or more than 10 properties owned, you're going to pay market rate, which then is going to be more like a 4.5% to 5% rate, and you're going to have to put down probably like 30% to 35%. Doable, but more money down.
Next question from Mr. Garrido.
Oh, I want to answer this question.
Oh, okay.
This guy said, will you buy an ugly house for $250K? I bought a house for $300K and gutted it to the studs. Then I spent $200K more into it, and now I'm listing it for about almost $1 million. So the answer is yes. It is priced. It does not determine value, right? Cheap does not determine good, and cheap does not determine you're going to make money. If you buy a property in a market that seems cheap with a high cap rate, put as much money possible into it, it's probably not going to be sold for much more than what you bought it for. So cheap does not determine profitability. What's the question?
Caleb D32.
Caleb D, where?
I'm scrolling up. Do you want me to ask it?
Yeah, just read the question.
Pascal, what do you think about buying a 10-plex during this time? Should I wait a year, or is right now a good time?
So when the market is up, when the market is down, when the market is sideways, you can buy real estate. The question comes to, are you buying a good deal? Now, a good deal doesn't always mean price. Good deal can mean terms. I bought a property one time for $335,000. It was in '08 when the market was dropping and people were saying, don't buy anything. I was able to buy it and only put down 10%. So people weren't happy that I bought it. I was happy that I bought it because I thought I bought it in a great area. And with 10% down, my return on my investment was what I was looking at, not so much the price of the property. I was betting long term. Now, if you're buying in a good area where people have consistent income coming in, then it's probably something you should consider. Because if they have jobs, even when the economy goes down, you can still have money coming in. But if you're going to buy in a low income area where it's questionable, where people are going to have jobs, it's going to be questionable if they're going to be able to pay you rent, then when the market drops more and when unemployment starts going away, then you're going to be in a problem. So it's not a question. Like right now, someone said, Pascal, here's a 10 unit and it's going to cost you $2 million and it's going to be in this decent area. I'll say, yeah, I'll take it. But if it was a 10 unit for, $1 million in not that great of an area, I wouldn't take it because I'm not looking for more headache. I'm looking for an asset that I want to hold, that I'm proud to own, and it's going to be bringing in money consistently because I wanted to be able to always cover the mortgage and cover all the expenses and all the additional things that might come up. I got some people that want to go live, so I'm going to try to answer their questions. So I'm adding 2 people to the live, and let's see how this goes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm liking this new camera. It's looking really good on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right. So Rob says, any online rent collection sites you'd suggest? So Rob, we manage roughly 30 something units now, all in house. Like we do it on the side while we're doing everything else. Again, we've been doing it for a long time, so it's not too hard for us to do it. The point is, we just have people zell us the money. We have 3 or 4 different bank accounts for the different properties, and the Zelle comes in. And each person's rent is different, so we can see their name and the rent amount, and we know, that we received the money. So we don't need a site to really collect payments, right? And we don't take debit cards or credit cards. You can do that if you have to, right? If someone's in a crunch and they need to pay their rent and they want to pay with the credit card, it's fine. But otherwise, we don't need it. So we just keep doing it. Vasquez says, Pascal, I could not hear you. I'm sorry. No, it's on IG, so there shouldn't be a problem with hearing me. Only YouTube would have a problem with the mic. But anyway, on to the next one. It's not working out very well with me adding people. It's not letting me add people. I'm adding them, but it's not working. So I am going to be doing something with upgrading my internet a 4th time, so it should be even better.
There you go.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hello.
All right, worked out. All right.
Who first? Go ahead. Hey, Pascal, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. So I own a home in Jersey. It's a 2-family home.
Okay.
I have a 798 credit score. I have about $60,000 in cash.
Okay.
I have a full-time job. I work for a hotel company. I make 72, 73. I'm having a hard time getting pre-approved for a second loan. And I've actually considered maybe trying to get a job down in Florida where homes are cheaper.
Do you own one home or 2 homes in New Jersey?
It's one home. It's a 2-family, which for you will probably be a duplex, I guess.
Yes. Okay. So So here, because there's a lot of moving parts that go along with a loan. But first thing, what I would say is the first thing you want to do is do a cash out refinance of your home. Take out as much equity as possible. Second, then get a home equity line of credit. So now you move your $60,000 plus all that extra money. You have all that cash together to do something with. Now, when you are going to buy another property, you're going to obviously have your property as nice as possible, getting the highest rents possible, and you're going to want to pre-lease or pre-rent your property, the one that you're living in that you're going to move out of. So you have 2 leases coming in, and you want to show that income coming in on your tax return. So it's very important that you do your tax returns right so you can show enough money to show the bank, look, I'm making good money with my job, I'm bringing in good rents here, and here's the lease for my unit that I'm going to rent out when I leave. So this is more money coming in. So now I have my job and 2 rentals giving me money. I can afford the next property. Now, if your next property is another duplex, which is what I did, I bought 1 duplex, then another duplex, you're going to have your income, the 2 rental incomes, and then one of the incomes from the duplex that you're going to buy, because that other income is going to be added to your income as well. So now you have 3 rental incomes plus your job to help you cover the cost of the new property. And as long as you did a refinance of your home, you're going to be able to most likely have a better payment than you do now. So your DTI is going to be better. You want to also use that money to pay off any other credit cards, cars, or anything else, because cars, a $400 car payment will eat up a $100,000 home loan. So if you have a car payment, loan, or a lease, that's $400 a month. That's taking away $100,000 of a home loan. So that will take you from, say, a $200,000 loan to a $300,000 loan. So you want to make sure that you're playing the game properly to have your debt consolidated. And usually I'm saying I only really have property debt.
Right.
In that way, I can constantly grow.
Yeah, I got rid of all my debt during the pandemic. So I've been trying to get myself prepared to make a move, but I'm still having a little bit of a hard time. The home is not rented. I live in 1 floor and my mother lives on another floor.
Then maybe you would need to get a lease then or something, because right now now you could see where it's unraveling because it's not going with the plan. So like you should either refinance the house into your mom's name. I don't know if she has income, and put this in her name. So then see if you can play that, because if you can refinance this property and put it in her name, or you can own it, but the loan only be in her name. Then when you apply,
that possible?
Yeah, you can. It depends how much income she has. For example, if you're a husband and wife and you're buying a property together, I do not encourage, if you're a husband and wife buying a property together or a partnership where you're buying real estate together, only one person should be on the loan, not both. Because what happens is they take the debt, 100% of the debt on each person. But they only apply half the income to each person. So you're basically making it harder for yourself. So one husband can get 10 loans, conventional loans. One wife can get 10. Now you can get 20 total. But if you apply together as a couple, you would only get 10, because you can't have more than 10 conventional loans. So yes, try to roll it off into her name and have her as the owner of, or not the owner, but the debt, the carrier of the debt.
Okay.
And then you can get another loan with your name for the next property.
Okay. Well, I might reach out to you if I decide to go down to Florida. Okay.
Well, we also do loans in New Jersey where we're licensed individually, but we're applying for our company to be licensed for New Jersey refinances and purchases. Our company is Eastlake Mortgage, so we'll be happy to help you in either state.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I email you and maybe schedule?
Yeah, DM me an IG, and I'll be able to answer your questions, and we'll get on top of that for you.
Perfect, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a great night.
All right. You too.
So what's up, brother? What's your
Right.
question?
I have a question. I paid off a house. It's worth around $60,000.
Okay.
It was owner finance.
Okay.
I actually have another house that I'm paying, and it's owner finance.
Okay. Second home. All right.
I have another deal where I need to fix another house. That's just a flip.
That was a flip.
I want to get a loan. Yes, I want to get a loan under the house that I paid off. What type of loan do you recommend?
Well, in this situation, what you're telling me, normally you would want to get a home equity line of credit. Because a home equity line of credit, you could pull it and pay it back as you need it. It's better than getting a hard money loan. Interest rates are better. It works out better. The issue is that with home equity line of credits, if the market tanks, the bank normally will freeze your home equity line. So when it's being frozen, you're not going to be able to access it to do any upgrades. You're not going to be able to access it if the market drops and you have a lot of good deals out there. You're not going to be able to access it. So I normally would, the most secure way of doing things is actually getting a 30-year mortgage and just have the money sitting there as your liquid cash, right? You are going to be paying, say, 2.75 to 3% on your money, maybe 3.25, depending on when you're applying for it and the terms. But the point is, that's not a lot of money. 3% is not a lot of money to have money in your hand. So whenever you need it, you can go and do what you have to do, because it sounds to me, you're buying one, you're buying another, you're fixing something, you're doing something. You're always going to need that money, right? Money for us is not money. Like, some people see money and they look at, like, all these famous people with like stacks of money in their hand. Money is worthless. Money is just a tool that we use to exchange. And the more cash we have, the better we can exchange and the faster we can exchange. So we need that cash to exchange. And what we really want is not for us to have $20 million in the bank, because money is worthless. What we want is to have the ability to purchase $20 million of real estate, because that's worth something. So that's really what we should be focused on, is getting that money in your hands and have it consistently there, which is how you can do that, which is a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, and just keep on rotating the money.
So you say the mortgage? Get a mortgage on that?
I would say get a,
right?
I would get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage and use it to fix everything up. Because even when you're done and you sell the property and you have the cash back, you're going to use that cash to buy another property.
Mm-hmm.
My dad would get a loan, use the loan for the business or a property he wanted to buy, and then within 5 years, he would pay off the loan. And then he would 2 years later go get another 30-year mortgage to do the next business or next thing he wants. And I'm like, why are you doing that? He's like, well, I don't want to pay interest. I said, well, you're paying $5,000 to $10,000 in closing costs every time you're doing this. You're paying off the loan and getting another one. And then 2, a lot of times when you want to buy something, you don't have the cash because you just paid off the house again. So you should just sit on the cash and just get used to it, just sitting on that money, having the money sitting there whenever you need it, because you need to have it right away, right? Speed is very important in this game. And there's another thing. You have a different level of confidence when you have money in your bank. And when you're talking to sellers and you're talking to people and I have $100,000 in my bank account, I got $1 million in my bank account, you're going to talk to them different. And they're going to feel that energy out of you, and they're going to respect you differently. Not because you are better or worse with the money. You're not. But that money sometimes gives people confidence to be able to do more. Now, I'll also tell you, money can make you arrogant. Don't get caught up. Don't think that you have money, that you're good and great and you're awesome now and you can't make a mistake. So be careful that you check yourself when you start getting a little arrogant or overconfident.
Of course. All right. Okay. I don't know if that affects. I want to get another house. I'm actually a first-time buyer because these houses that I'm getting so far, they're owner financed.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll be reaching out to you to see if you can help me out with that.
So let me tell you this. Is it going to affect things? It shouldn't really affect things as long as you're putting all of the money you're making, you're showing all the money you're making on your tax returns. Because where people get caught, most people get caught up is one, say they buy a property and they make, let's just say $12,000 a year in rent from that property. What they end up doing is they write off all these expenses from fixing the property on their tax return, and they show them breaking even or losing money. The problem with that is you should not be writing off those improvements as expenses. That makes you look like you're losing money. What you should be is adding them on as an asset, because it is an asset. You improve the property, so the property is worth more, which makes it an asset to the property. Then you're depreciating the property. So then you do get the write-off on your taxes, but the banks know that you added value and you depreciated it, which tells the bank, okay, I'm going to add back all the depreciation. So when you're going for a loan, it doesn't look like you lost money. They understand that you didn't lose money and that they're going to continue to give you more loans. So it's important to do things properly on your taxes. Otherwise, you're going to end up being stuck. Now, it looks like he's scrolling there. So I'm going to answer some of these questions here that I see. So someone says, what do you think of Doge or XRP? Let's be very clear. XRP has a use. Chainlink has a use. Ethereum has a use. Bitcoin has a use. Do I have meme coins? Yes, I have Shiba. That doesn't mean you can compare Shiba or Dogecoin, which are meme coins, to functional utility coins, okay? So let's not get confused, guys. There is a joke side of crypto and there's a serious side of crypto. Don't put them together, right? Dogecoin got pumped up. Shiba's going to get pumped up because of the meme side of things, which is fun, right? Let's have fun. But we got to remember, they do not have a utilitarian purpose for it, right? That people say that's going to become a currency. That's not likely for that to be a currency. But will people use them as a joke and give their friend, oh, I owe you some money, here's some Dogecoin, you know? Or I owe you some money, here's $1 billion in Shiba or 1 billion Shiba coins. It's fun, but no, it's not the same thing as XRP. XRP has a functional use. All the other coins I mentioned, Chainlink has a functional use. So, you know, guys, remember, don't curse or I'm going to block you.
I have a question here from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We have Alex. My name is Alex, and where in Tampa, Florida is best to buy a duplex or triplex as a first-time buyer with the ability to put down a down payment?
So that question is like weighted, right? First, you're assuming that there's one area better than another area. There isn't technically one area better than another area, even though I put down the lower income sides of town. I put down the idea of investing in the low income part of town. I put down the idea of investing in a rural area. Those are still great places to invest, and there's people that do it very well in those markets. I just particularly don't like them, and I don't really advise that to a new investor to do that unless they have some great mentors to help them through the ups and downs. So if you are looking for something to invest anywhere in the country, I normally advise investing in a downtown core in a secondary and tertiary market, meaning outside of the primary city. Meaning if you go to Tampa, in the heart of Tampa, try to buy a duplex, you are not going to be able to find one. And if people think that, oh, LA is expensive and all these other areas are expensive, downtown Tampa is very expensive. Very expensive. So it's going to come right into the same problem. It's not very affordable. And two, the returns on investment are very low. So in secondary and tertiary markets, they're outside the primary market, there's a little bit more affordability. Now buying stuff at 8 caps are almost gone. Like I used to be able to buy a 10 cap in a decent part of town. You can't get I mean, if you're lucky, if you get a 6 cap in a decent part of town. So secondary, tertiary market, that's the way to go. Anywhere in the country, you don't even have to talk about Tampa. Okay. You are now blocked. All right. I'll answer the next question. We'll see about Edison going live. Go ahead. What's your question? Hannah?
Nano420 says, when creating a lease for a tenant, does it have to be notarized by a lawyer, or is it legal to create a lease on your own?
So to answer that question, I'm going to speak about Florida, right? Because there could be some weird things all over the country. But in general, no, you do not have to have the lease notarized. You can just sign the lease between you and the tenant. Now, you should have a standard lease for your city or state. I do have my own lease, but my lease, I've been using it for 15 years and I've had no problems with it. And I keep on tweaking it for the different problems that I have. Like if you flush feminine products down the toilet, minimum charge is $95 and you are going to pay for it. It's an additional rent. I don't put it as an expense, because if I put it in expense in Florida and I do an eviction, I can't really ask for that. And I can't take it out of the rent. But if I say it's an additional rent charge, that means I'm adding that to your rent. And when you pay me money for rent, I can take it out. So you can't say, well, I paid you all the rent. No, you didn't. You paid me your $1,000. Let's say the rent's $1,000. You pay me $1,000. The first 95 went towards the clogged toilet. So that means only 905 is left. So that means you're short $95 on your rent, because this month your rent was not 1,000, but 1,095. And now you owe me additional rent charges because you're also short. Because if a person wants to mess the property up and not pay for it, I'm not okay with that, right? If a person makes a mistake and says, hey, I need some time to pay me, I'm very flexible with that. I've been very flexible with tenants that need some assistance. But if a person's like, well, no, it's not my problem, I don't like that, because you messed that up. I'm not going to pay for your mistakes. And people will destroy your stuff and say it's not my problem, as if they think that the $1,000 in rent they're paying you is all profit. It's not. It's like a small hair of that's a profit. So what's up, brother? What can I answer your question? What question can I answer?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
So I spoke to you a couple of times. It's just a few more questions. I overheard that maybe Joe Biden is maybe changing some of the laws that may affect real estate.
Okay.
I believe that he might say if you like try and do like a 1031 exchange, like there'll be a tax on, it'll be taxed or something like that. And I also want to know is that when you do cash out refinance, since you're pulling out cash out of the property, would you have to pay any tax on that or no? Okay.
So the answer, Yeah. Well, most of these answers I've already talked about.
Okay.
So to answer your question, when you are taking out debt from your property, debt is not profit. Debt is a liability. That is not an income statement item. That is a balance sheet item. And because it's a balance sheet item, it's non-taxable.
Okay.
So, Salam alaikum from Turkey. So to answer your question, no, it's not taxable. Part 2 to your question, 1031 exchange. When you're in a 1031 exchange, that is actual part of the tax code, right? So they're not taxing a 1031 exchange. 1031 exchange itself is a reduction or a transfer of your basis into avoid paying tax on a sale into a like kind. It's called a like kind exchange. So what you're saying is you're mixing up different parts of what his tax code says. What you're saying is there's a part of the Biden tax code that says that they're going to tax anything above $500,000 on a 1031 exchange. So they're only going to limit the transfer up to $500,000, which yes, then anything over 500 grand would be taxable. One, there's pros and cons to either if that happens, right? Like you can slice it many ways to figure out how it would be handled. So part one is this: people that have large portfolios and have big taxable gains will not sell their property. They're just not going to sell. They're going to hold their properties. There's going to be less big properties available for sale.
So be less supply in the market?
There'll be less supply, yes. Less, and then smaller stuff would be sold. And then what would end up happening is the big players would start buying small projects and keeping their taxable gains under 500 grand.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just gonna work around it. They're gonna basically go into they're gonna go into my market, because right now the way where I hunt in the middle. I don't mess with the smaller players. I don't do a lot of things under 500 grand because there's too many fish in the water and there's not much money. So there's too many people fighting. I'm not fighting in that level, and it's not really appealing to me anyway. Then there's another level where you're talking about over $1.5 million. Over $1.5 million is another group of people fighting, and their margins are so thin. I also don't care to fight in that area because there's not much there unless it's a huge value add property. Like the one property I bought for $1 million, spent almost $1 million, and when I was done, it was worth like 3.7 million. That property was worth it for me because even though it was a lot of work, and I made the profit. I put in sweat equity to build that profit. So what's going to end up happening is all these players are going to move down to this level that I'm at, right? The middle grounds between $500,000 to 1.5 million. That middle ground is where I play, and that's where they're all going to go, and that's going to suck. So, which is going to suck because I'm not going to find more deals, but it's going to be good for me because everything that I own is going to be worth so much more. So there's pros and cons to it, and then for me, I would then just the big thing would be is who's going to be selling properties. Most of these properties are going to be sold at someone's passing. So you got to be very good in your market and have lots of connections, because now when these are coming out, they're going to be very rare, and you're going to have to just be able to try to get them through your connections.
Okay. So you know how you spoke about earlier. I was just wondering, like, is there any like possibility, like there could be like a one-on-one, like, you know, like maybe you would want like a certain amount for, like, because I know your time is very valuable. Like, you know, like you mentioned, where we all exchange for something, you have value information, and you know, I know your time is very important, but I would really like to maybe spend like an hour with you, like, you know, to talk.
So the reason
I know you're a very busy guy.
Yeah. To answer your question, one, lots of free content on my YouTube, a lot more content coming. Two, I do this a lot of, because I try to give away as much free as I can do. And then two, obviously there's these live events. Come, ask your questions, watch my videos, bring the questions back, ask them here. And then three, the best bang for your buck, like the most value you're going to get, is my course. My course, I think, is like $397. It's super cheap, and it's like 7 hours full of content of all the stuff that you need to know that people don't know that they need to know, and that ends up screwing them up later when they're almost ready to do a deal. And that's going to give you the most info, and it's going to save you. It's going to save you a lot of headache. And when you're talking to someone like me, or maybe someone else like me, that has some similar knowledge, you're going to not ask them the ABCs. You're going to be able to ask them more tangible questions, because they're not trying to teach you the ABCs. You know, they're going to try to teach you, you know, words. They're going to try to teach you sentences. Because if someone's trying to teach you ABCs, most people don't have the time for that. And to be honest, you don't have the budget for that, because normally I get paid $500 an hour. If you are my client and you do your taxes with me, or you do mortgages with me, or you do something with me already, I charge $300 an hour. And at that point, I still have a packed schedule, because between that, my accounting firm, insurance agency, my mortgage company, and all the other businesses and investments that I do. I have a syndication where I invest people's money and we buy real estate together. Obviously, I have a very limited, that's why I used to do this twice a week. I used to do it Sunday night and Wednesday night. I don't even have time to do it an extra hour, if you can imagine, right? And I love helping people, so that's why I'm doing this. So Shamito says his YouTube videos are full of knowledge. I listen to them all my way to work and back home. I need to get a podcast. That's what I need to do too.
Yeah, podcast would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Hannah's gonna help me with that.
If I get your course and get some of the ABCs down, and that'll set me up to ask you like better, more advanced questions. I would like to set up that 1 hour with you. When I'm ready, how would I go about doing that? Is there like a website, or would I have to send you a message to Instagram?
Yeah, so if you DM me, someone on my team is gonna usually answer the basic questions, and then the more complicated questions come to me. So they will just give you the contact info for Daniel, which is my tax manager and my strategist. So he would end up setting up with me. But what I would say is take the course. So guys, everyone here that wants to know, I'd say first, take the course. After you take the course, come back to the live and ask follow-up questions. Okay. And most people are probably gonna have to do that for 3 to 6 months before they're ready to do a deal. So and again, not many people are going to tell you, don't give me money, right? So I'm trying to be really honest with you. I only want to take money from people that I can give them minimum 10 times what I took. So if I take $300 for someone, I want them to make $3,000 off of the information I'm giving them. So my point is, for me to say, okay, I got some information for you and you're going to make $3,000 and I can guarantee that, I'm going to say, how do you do it? 1, take the course. I can guarantee you're probably going to get $30,000 worth of value out of that advice. 2, come back with your questions. You're going to build your finances up really well, so you're going to be very close to buying a deal, right? Because there's going to be somewhere in there that you're weak, and I'm going to help you get stronger through the course and through asking the questions here. And then from there, then you can go have the one-on-one as well. And again, guys, if we're doing your taxes, we're going to most likely we do taxes nationwide. If we're doing your taxes, we're going to end up being able to do it in such a way to help you and advise you along the way to set yourself up to be real estate investors. So as you do more of these ancillary services that I offer, it's going to help you long term. So, and it makes things cheaper for you too, because now if I need to review your taxes, it's going to take me 5 minutes to review it since you're already applying, compared to maybe an hour if you were not applying. So, and all these services come together and become cheaper. So that's the best bang for your buck, I would say, is take the course, come ask questions on the live, and then we can do private one-on-ones.
Okay. I tried getting like a cash out or refinance, but you guys told me you guys aren't in Connecticut at the moment. Yes. But I just wanted to know, would you recommend big banks or smaller banks?
Small banks.
Or small banks?
Small banks are a lot easier to deal with and easier to make a relationship.
Okay. Would it be a higher interest rate than a bigger bank though?
No.
No.
Unless you go to a broker, which I'm a broker, we can actually do more difficult things than the big banks and the small banks. And rates are usually better, pricing is better, but normally the minimum a loan has to be is around 150 to 200,000 minimum for us to be able to do it. Otherwise, there's like almost no money in the deal. So it's like, we'd be doing it for free. Because there's a lot of regulations with the small loans that make it not profitable for us, where a big bank or a small bank, an actual name branch bank, not a broker, they can charge more money than we can. So that's how they can make up for the money difference and do smaller loans.
Okay, so would you recommend me like looking for? So that would be like a loan broker. I mean,
how big is the loan you're looking at getting?
Well, we have a property that's completely paid off. I believe it's worth right around $800,000.
Okay.
So my parents, they have a house over here, and I believe they owe like maybe 280, and they have another house, and I think they owe like 180. So I think they're in it for 460. So I was thinking maybe we could probably take out 600K. Have the 460, maybe be left with 130, 120.
What does your dad? What does your mom and dad do for a living?
My dad has a construction company, and my mom has like some work. But yeah, like
what do you mean she has some work? Like, does she work for a company, or does she own her own business?
Like she basically like does like some of the small stuff for the company, like she cashes the checks, stuff like that.
She works in the company.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes, there's a good chance that you can refinance if you have enough equity in the property. The question is, are they doing the taxes and the bookkeeping right for their construction company so the bank will give them a loan? Because a lot of people who own construction companies don't show how much they make. And they showed like, hey, they're barely making any money because they're doing it the cheap way. Now, you can still show you made a lot of money and not paying. Like, again, I just did my taxes. I made about $500 last year.
Mm-hmm.
I only paid $1,000 in taxes.
Wow.
I didn't lie. I didn't cheat. I didn't steal. I used all the tax rules available to reduce credits to bring it down to not owe anything. So you have to do your taxes properly. And in the construction business, there's ways you can do them properly and not pay taxes, but still show a lot of income. And there's also ways to do it the wrong way where you are not doing it right, which you're not paying a lot of taxes, but because you're doing the wrong way, no one's going to give you a loan. So yeah, DM me. The course is available. The link in my bio on IG, and DM me. You have a lot of important questions. If your parents need advice regarding their construction company and their books and taxes, yes, we can set up a consultation call for them, because a lot of the moves you're wanting to make aren't moves for yourself. These are moves for your parents' companies. And if I tell you this and they don't listen to you, it's a waste. So it's better for you to get your parents on the call with me and have them pay for the consultation so they can up their game, so they can get they can make the next financial moves they want to make.
Yeah, because I think their house or residence, it's like a 6% interest rate, and then I think this one is like 6.25%.
Yeah, that's
so
bad.
I'm like, you guys are literally just throwing money in the garbage.
Yeah, they can basically, if you tell them this, tell them basically, you could double your mortgage size. You could double the mortgage on both of them and still probably have a lower payment than you have today.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Maybe like they could pay off the properties, sit on the cash, or maybe they could use that cash to reinvest into the company, maybe for marketing, get bigger size jobs, more abundant clients,
You're 100% right. Like, and the thing is, you're mentioning a lot of stuff that I wish a lot of people would think about. Is you're thinking about, what are the ways I can grow? What are the ways I can do more? Because what does it matter if you're paying 3% interest on $100,000? It's only $400 a month for that. But if you can make that $100,000 and you can reinvest it in your business, most businesses could double, triple that money if it's managed properly. So you're spending $3,000 a year, but you tripled your business, and now you're making $200,000 more a year. So the return on investment is huge. But great questions. Yeah, DM me and I'll be happy to help.
All right, sounds good. You guys do taxes in Connecticut, right?
Yeah, we do taxes countrywide. Actually, we do some taxes internationally as well. So yeah, across the country, no problem. We're here to help.
All right, I'll send you guys a message. Thank you for your time.
Dude, thank you. Bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Yes. So the question is, do we talk about taxes in our course? Yes, we talk about taxes. We talk about investing philosophy. We talk about credit. We talk about all the foundational items for individuals' personal finances to be able to become an actual investor. So again, we talk about taxes. We talk about credit. We talk about investing philosophy. We talk about different types of taxes as well. Individual taxes, business taxes, and how taxes affect your loan, how your credit score affects the loan, and how your debt coverage ratio affects the loan. And I show how someone making $50,000 a year can end up buying a home significantly more than what they currently make by properly utilizing their taxes and their credit. All right. Let's see. Next question I got here is a developer that sold me a condo gave me 1-year warranty, and there are issues as far as water leaking from the windows, roof, and garage. Plus, we found out the property owes taxes. Please advise. So, honestly, you should get a lawyer because that's a lot of problems. And if the warranty is almost up, it could be a problem. So, I would say get a lawyer.
Syndication information.
Where is that, on IG or YouTube?
IG. We're gonna get more information about the syndication you're talking about.
Basically, if you're an accredited investor, which means that you make at least $1 million a year, you can DM me and we can give you more information and send you a prospectus and go over our most recent offering. If you are uncredited, means you make at least, you have a portfolio that's worth at least $1 million, or you make at least $200,000 a year for the last 2 years. So happy to answer any questions. Just DM me and I will. I'll get to you. Get the answers to you. Daniel says, in your class, do you go over how to minimize taxes on a construction company? Yes, I do go over on how to not minimize, but how to properly do certain functions inside of a tax return so you can reduce the amount of tax owed, yet still not limit how much money you can get on a loan. Because if you do taxes not the most effective way, you could limit how much you can get in loans.
Do you see that question by Dino Rivero?
Go ahead and read it.
Dino Rivero says, hi, if I have $2 million on rental with 50% LTV, what should my decent return annually?
There isn't a flat answer for that, because, for example, if you bought a house or if you bought a property in New York City that's $2 million and you have 50%, you put 50% down, $1 million. You know, there's cap rates in New York that are like 3s and 4s. So, and if you have a loan that is 4%, that means you would only earn a spread of 1%. So you would only maybe make, $20,000 a year, $30,000 a year, not much money. In New York, the margin on rentals are very low. But if you compare it to, say, Florida, and you're in an 8 cap property and you're at 4, you're gonna probably make like maybe $100,000 a year on that $1 million. It really depends. There's a lot of factors that go involved. It depends on how much the property needs work. And again, you're gonna get higher returns in low income area, but not much appreciation. You get lower returns in high income area and nicer areas. So it's a spread, It really depends what you want and the type of property you want. All right, we got time for one last question. What's that question gonna be, Hannah? All right, let's see this. Little J, or J Little, says, what's your take on buying physical precious metals in our current economy? So, I like precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, palladium. It's all good. The issue is with our metals market, our metals market is manipulated. The true price of silver is not under 25 an ounce. The true price of silver should probably be close to $200 an ounce. The issue we're running into is this. Back in 2013, I had $1,000 I was going to invest in Bitcoin. 2013 was $33 a coin. I ended up buying $1,000 worth of silver. And I decided, you know what? I don't want to spend an additional $1,000 on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is supposed to be gold and Ethereum is supposed to be silver. So why would I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum? Why don't I just buy physical gold and silver? It's the same thing. Logically, theoretically, like the conceptual idea is the same thing. Unfortunately, I didn't grasp the full understanding of the manipulation of the market. And I didn't understand the full freedom of Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the different coins out there. So the issue comes to that if you're looking for a significant increase in your value, you might not get it in gold and silver. Now, if you're looking for extreme protection, asset protection, gold and silver is good. Because if you do physically have silver, and you go to someone and say, I have physical silver, I have physical gold, and we're in, let's say, a war, and stuff is limited, you're going to get a lot farther with physical silver and physical gold compared to going to someone and saying, hey, I have Ethereum. How much Ethereum you're going to take for that loaf of bread? A person's going to say, I'll take the silver over the Ethereum. So you got to balance it. Now, I have gold, I have silver, I have Ethereum, I have Bitcoin, I have Chainlink, I have XRP, I have Hedera Hashgraph, I have all of the good crypto, and I have all the good metals. Keep conscious of balancing everything out. And I have a lot of real estate. What the best thing to do? The best thing to do is when there's opportunities, take advantage of the opportunity. What I learned from this one investor, and actually many investors when I was younger, was when the blood is in the streets, the profits will be made. That means when there's the most problems, when the 2008 crisis happened and that 7-plex was selling for $335,000 and everybody else was afraid to buy it, I think that this area is a great area. I'm going to buy in it. I bought in it, and now it's worth $1.75 million. So when there's opportunities, take advantage and buy the things that you believe in. That is the best advice I can give you. Because if someone's going to say, buy NFTs because they're going to win and they're all going to win, there's no way everything is going to win. It doesn't work like that. Eventually, something's going to fall. So, but if you truly love something, it doesn't matter if it falls, because you're going to be happy owning it and retaining it. And one day you're going to be super popular, and one day you're not. Last thing I'm going to leave you is this. When I was in the game and I was buying Pokemon cards when I was a little kid, that was not cool. Being a geek or a nerd was not cool. And I was pretty geeky. I was pretty nerdy.
That's you.
There you go. It was not cool. When I was working out, it was not, oh, smart people worked out. It was like, oh, no, only dumb people worked out. So when someone saw you built, they thought you were dumb. They didn't know that actually to be physically fit takes some brains and some consistency. And when I was younger and I was doing a lot of different things, different business things, it was not cool. But that's what I like to do. Right now, being a real estate investor, being a business person is cool, right? People think it's cool. One day they're not going to think it's cool. And when they don't think it's cool, I'm still going to be doing this. So figure out what you like to do, figure out what you like to buy, and do that. Be happy. So guys, I love you guys. God bless you. I'm back every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. If you want the course, the link is in the bio. If you need help with taxes, I'm happy to help. We do taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll across the country. And we do loans in Florida, soon to be New Jersey, We do in Texas, Arizona, and California. Good night and God bless.